Very tight tea houses.
Stepped in as the nation's cornerstone, addressing these critical infrastructure gaps and laying the foundation for a brighter future. The numbers tell the story of a nation on the move. Enrollment at the basic education level surged from 4.1 million in 2001 to over 8.6 million in 2022. GETFund's timely interventions played a crucial role in accommodating this growing student population. The enrollment data at the basic education level, covering both public and private institutions, demonstrates a significant increase in student numbers from 2001 to 2022. In 2001, the total enrollment for kindergarten, primary, and junior high school combined was 4,154,374. By 2022, this figure had grown to 8,676,520, representing a 108.8% increase over the 21-year period. Breaking it down further, KG enrollment increased from 702,304 in 2001 to 2,001,305 in 2022, a remarkable 184.9% increase. Primary enrollment grew from 2,586,434 in 2001 to 4,855,702 in 2022, an 87.8% increase. JHS.
Make welcome our very own brother, Mr. Samuel Boateng, for a word of prayer.
Thank you, my brother. Fellow Ghanaians, shall we pray? Our Heavenly Father, Yahuwah Almighty, we thank you for your grace and mercy this morning, especially for granting us the most valuable gift of yours, that is life. We thank you for a wonderful world so created. We also thank you for a very beautiful country called Ghana that you have gifted to us. We above all grant us the grace to be able to put forth and to be able to account successfully to the resources reposed into the trust of the GETFund. Father, our prayer is that we are inviting you into our midst to exercise your dominionship, command the heavenly host to take their strategic positions so that you will ensure our safety and our peace. Father, we are looking forward to a very successful end. And at the end of the program, we shall never withhold the thanksgiving which you alone deserves. We have asked this and many more through the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Which fund has facilitated teacher training and capacity building programs? Which fund has helped to increase access to education for disadvantaged groups, including girls and children with disabilities? And which fund is going to spur us on in the future by supporting quality education in Ghana? Put your hands together and let's celebrate this remarkable assets. A true story of perseverance, innovation, and steadfast commitment to supporting the delivery of quality education in Ghana. My name is Jerry Ajololo. If I'm so excited, it's because I stand on the back of this great national asset where our very own Dr. Richard Ampofubwedu is the administrator of the fund, and he's directed by the Venerable Honorable Professor Dominic Fobi as the board chair, together with all the trustees as they enjoy the sweet compliment of the board and management. I say a very good morning to you all, our broad stakeholders who have come at the invitation of GETFund for this morning's very important event. It is a stakeholder engagement forum where ours is to explore how we can support the delivery of quality education by factoring in the impact of GETFund Quality Education in Ghana to be our chairperson. He served in various positions at the University of Cape Coast, including Founding Dean, Faculty of Educational Foundations, College of Education Studies, Foundation Head, Department of Guidance and Counseling Hall Tutor, and Senior Hall Tutor of Atlantic Hall. But today he is the Foundation Vice Chancellor of the University of Environment. Licensure examinations was introduced in September 2017, along with significant steps toward professionalization of teaching in Ghana. He served as a member of the National Commission for Tertiary Education Council, a member of the Academic and Technical Committees of NCTE Council, and was appointed a member of the Policy Advisory Committee of Ghana Tertiary Education Commission in February 2024. He is a member of the Ghana Psychological Council and an accredited public relations professional of the Institute of Public Relations Ghana, and a member of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management Ghana. He's a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Administrators and Management Consultants Ghana, and a fellow of the Institute of Directors Ghana, elected fellow of the Ghana Teaching Regulatory Agencies for his significant contributions to the development of the teaching profession nationally and internationally. Clearly, chairpersons don't come as distinguished, illustrious, and as decorated as our very own, the Foundation Vice Chancellor of the University of Environment and Sustainable Development. Make welcome our chairperson for today, the Professor Eric Nyako Sampson.
Chief Director of the Ministry of Education, Chairman of the Board of Trustees of GETFund, and my university teacher, he's my first degree teacher, Professor Dominic Fobi, Administrator of the GETFund, my colleague VCs and registrars who are here. I want to stand on the protocols established by the MC or by the administrator. I wish to express my delight to be invited to the 2024 Stakeholders Forum by Ghana Education Trust Fund and to chair the event. This event, I am informed, is geared toward ensuring greater and enduring harmonious relationship building with external stakeholders of the fund. It is also to bring to the fore the open door policy of GETFund based on transparency and accountability of stewardship to engender a positive face of the fund's role in quality education. These are things I got from the letter of invitation. So if they are different, I don't know. This engagement, as we are gathered here, as others, is intended to provide opportunity for the fund and beneficiary institutions to share success stories, and we can see that in this one. And when we administrator, we will see the wonderful things, as we are told, have been done. And brainstorm on funding challenges and ways of improving the education sector. Thus, the theme, supporting the delivery of quality education, the impact of GETFund in contemporary education financing in Ghana. Chief Director, as I register my acceptance to chair this occasion, please permit me to make a few remarks. Education is a major instrument for promoting the socio-economic, political, and cultural development of any nation. A country's economic growth depends on its manpower development, resulting from its investment in education. And that is what I agree more when the administrator earlier said that this program is for the young people who are gathered here, because they are at the investment of a country in terms of education. It is through education that the much needed manpower to accelerate the growth and development of the country are provided. Education in Ghana is funded through a variety of sources, such as grants from Government of Ghana, the GETFund development partners, internally generated funds by the institutions, and contributions from students and the private sector. In Ghana and many other developing countries, the paths and sources of substantial investment in and provision of quality education have to be explored and identified as the surest path for national development. Often, the gap between apparent commitment and actual delivery deserves a review or a rethink. And I'm sure my colleague Vice Chancellors here will note this one. The commitment and actual delivery, how much is given and how much you get. And so it causes for a rethink of what other avenues in terms of finance. This challenge arises from limited public funding, high poverty levels, and competing public demands for education, health, and infrastructure, exacerbated by rapid population growth and increasing global pressure to enhance education access and quality. I am certain that the intent and desire of the state and government to provide quality, accessible education to its citizens and the constraints of inadequate financial resources resulted in the setting up of the fund, that is the GETFund. The interplay between sufficiency, that is securing resources, and efficiency, achieving results or returns in education financing, must be greatly considered. How do we then ensure that we've been able to raise, what we've been able to raise is used for the purpose for which it was set? What is available? What can we contain? Considering the impact of GETFund in contemporary education financing in Ghana, it will give us the opportunity to possibly consider other educational finance approaches. For instance, adequacy approach funding, equity approach funding, and efficiency approach funding. Whichever it is, the bottom line is the fact that education must be for public good and it must be well funded. Oftentimes, irrespective of the cost, and this has proven to be true here in Ghana, at least for the free SHS. And funding made available or avenues for available funding should be kept, should be guarded and guided to serve the purpose for which it was set. And this is what we are here for, to listen to how well the fund has served the purpose for which it was set. I therefore solicit your support and participation for this program to be a success. I thank you very much.
One more time, ladies and gentlemen, our chairperson for today, Professor Eric Nyako Sampson. Oh, clapping is free. We're grateful that you've accepted to chair this event with all your expertise that you bring to bear. It is my pleasure also to acknowledge in the set of secondary schools here in present, Frafraha SHS. Let's see you up on your feet. There they are. A round of applause for you. We're also joined by universities and university colleges. Make welcome in our midst Accra Technical University, Presby College. There you are. UPSA. The rest of them are in the lecture halls, we understand. Let's make welcome Accra College of Education. Thank you. Pentecost University. Lovely. PWC. I believe it's Presbyterian Women's College of Education. Where are you? Ghana School of Law, Makola. Thank you. Presbyterian College of Education, Ikropong. All right. Yes, thank you very much. But we're glad also by the presence of the Director General of the CTVET, Dr. Fred Che Asamoah. Make him welcome with a round of applause. Thank you very much. It has fallen to this government particularly to deliver on all her promises as part of education or in respect of education, and even done more. Today, it would have been very nice to have the Minister of Education really speak to the theme we're reflecting on, but instead, he's represented by Mrs. Mamley Andrews the Chief Director. Would you please make it a welcome with a round of applause?
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Good morning. Great. So I'm standing here on behalf of my minister, the Honorable Dr. Yawose Educhum, who unfortunately could not be here because of a pressing national assignment. But noting the importance of the stakeholder engagement, he asked that I represent him. So on his behalf, I'd like to read his statement to each and every one of you. So Board Chair, Prof Chair, Honorable Professor Dominic Phoebe, Administrator of the GETFund, colleague Board Trustees, members, I acknowledge you. Management of GETFund, I acknowledge you all. And dear stakeholders sitting in this auspicious auditorium, I acknowledge you all. And read that on behalf of the Minister for Education, it is an honor to share with you the impact of the GETFund, the Ghana Education Trust Fund, that the Ghana Education Trust Fund has had on education in the past years. He is happy to share the remarkable progress that we have witnessed through the GETFund and the significant contribution to our educational landscape. GETFund has indeed been instrumental in uplifting the education infrastructure across all levels in all 16 regions of Ghana over the last 20 years. And we are all witnesses to this. The fund has positively impacted the quality of education delivery and ensuring that every child has access to quality education in a safe, conducive learning environment. At the Ministry of Education, our main purpose is to ensure that quality education is given to every child within the country, and every child has access to education, to quality education. This is all geared towards the objective ensuring that the human capital of this country is secured for national development. So it is on this note that the Minister for Education commends the Board of Trustees for the support in deepening creativity in our students through digitalization, whilst ensuring prudent management of the fund per the Act, the GETFund Act 2000, Act 581 as amended. Board Chair, Administrator, ladies and gentlemen, the construction of model STEM schools, e-blocks, and TVET centers of excellence stand as a testament to the GETFund's success stories. Today, as we gather, it provides a platform for the Board of Trustees and management of the GETFund to engage with you as key stakeholders to discuss these success stories, together discuss the challenges, and find solutions for the way forward. The Minister looks forward to hearing from the administrator of the GETFund as he shares his insights and accounts to us as all good people of our dear country on what progress has been made over the years by the GETFund. GETFund, with its dedicated focus on science, technology, engineering, and math education, has been instrumental in transforming educational infrastructure in Ghana. And one of the primary areas of GETFund's impact is to advance STEM and TVET education in Ghana. STEM education, we all know, prepares our youth for the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century and equips them with global competitiveness and local innovation. While TVET, on the other hand, also produces skilled and adaptable workforce, supporting our local industries to deliver on their mandates. GETFund should therefore continue to prioritize these areas and ensure that the state-of-the-art facilities and resources are available for our students. The minister wants us to know that he is delighted to see the surge in local scholarships. These scholarships will enable our scholars, our students, to access quality education even in areas where facilities are lacking. This indeed aligns with our commitment to ensuring equal opportunity and inclusive education. And as we move forward, he encourages the GETFund to expand its efforts and partnerships with local institutions, educational institutions, and industry stakeholders. He encourages that we invest in modern laboratories, advanced technology, and highly qualified educators to provide the world-class STEM and TVET education that this country so much needs. GETFund has aligned with the government's agenda, specifically in the field of STEM and TVET. And by investing in STEM and TVET scholarships, we empower our youth to take these opportunities and to compete globally. The impact of GETFund on contemporary education is indeed commendable. Minister expresses his gratitude to GETFund for the redirection of funds towards local scholarship and a cost-effective approach that benefits our students and preserves our resources. We commend the leadership for the unwavering dedication to improving our educational system. And we know that together we are shaping a brighter future for Ghana, where each and every student, regardless of their background, can access the best of education and realize the full potential for the benefit of our dear nation. So on behalf of the Honorable Minister, we thank you for your commitment to our shared education, to our shared vision for a more educated and empowered country. And he says thank you and wishes you the very best of the Stakeholder Forum. Thank you very much.
One more time, a round of applause for Ghana's Minister for Education, speaking to us through the Chief Director, Mrs. Mamle Andrews. Thank you very much, and please extend our warmest delight and appreciation to the Minister for all his efforts to promote an inclusive, educated, and empowered Ghanaian citizenry through education. The Minister spoke about positive impact. He also spoke about challenges and areas for improvement. He spoke about reforms and recommendations, but most importantly, outlined some recent developments, for which reason this gives us enough fodder to go into the conversation, but not until we've had a presentation on the theme we're reflecting on. Is it okay if I tell you a story? Oh, come on, is it okay if I tell you a story? Okay. And so once upon a time, it fell to an illustrious Ghanaian to transform the face of this institution, GETFund. He spearheaded transformative reforms since his coming into office and has enhanced financial support given by GETFund in support of the delivery of quality education. His achievements include a comprehensive reform of GETFund operations across projects, scholarships, and internal processes. Under his leadership, the Infrastructure Audit Initiative was launched, assessing the quality, progress, and locations of GETFund-financed projects. He revitalized the project unit into a project monitoring and evaluation department, staffed with professionals, architects, surveyors, and construction engineers. He established the zonal monitoring offices across the country and introduced financial clearance systems, further strengthened GETFund capacity to implement its budget and mandate effectively. In response to the rapid rise in the enrollment due to the free SHS policy, he supported the delivery of over 588 secondary emergency intervention projects, mitigating infrastructure gaps, and his tenure also saw the initiation of an impressive 2,251 plus projects spanning basic, secondary, TVET, and tertiary education, as well as the Transformational Model Schools Initiative. His influence even extends to the scholarship program, where he championed reforms. These included a focus on STEM fields, increased support for local universities, equitable distribution of awards, with a focus on girl education, and the introduction of a scholarship monitoring program. His commitment to technological advancements resulted in the transition to an effective online scholarship management system. And that, my friends, is a short story of a visionary committed to supporting the improvement of education and fostering innovation. Would you please, with a round of applause, welcome our transformational leader, Dr. Eric Ampofo Bwedu. Now, is that all you can do for such progress? Spearheaded by a leader of innovation and transformation.
Good morning once again. I'll stand on the already protocol that others have been able to stand on. But before I start with my presentation, it looks like the room is a bit dull. I'll begin with something that happened somewhere in the country at some other time or time in the past. A pastor on trying to raise funds, the annual harvest that they do in their locality, in their churches, was so enthused because of the funds that he got that day. And forgetting about himself, he just jumped out and then said, "Kwafo, Momo Sikai Moja Mami." He didn't know because of the quantum of money that he's gotten. I'm just praying that today we will not be carried on that level and I may be swayed away on the massive project that we're coming to see today and the work that we've done. So today, no Sikai Moja by the choir. Everyone sitting here, you, and you all make contributions to GETFund. I meet people and then they ask me, so you say you are working at GETFund, where does your money come from? But you forget that when you go to your locality and buy milk, you go to the restaurant and then eat. Whatever that officially you buy, there's a small thing there, GETFund levy. So they tax you. They tax you. They tax you. Collectively, that money that we get is what it's the source of funding for GETFund. So every one of you here, you contribute to GETFund. And we at GETFund, we see that we have to be transparent, and we should come back to you and let you know how we spend the money that you've given us. So I would like us to look at it is supporting the delivery of quality education, the impact of GETFund on contemporary education. And I'll begin with our mandate. I'll talk about a snapshot that is in 2012 as we are all gathered here. What is GETFund all about? And then I'll go back and then talk about how this was achieved through government support by the fund and the journey that we've gone through to today, and then the way forward. The way forward, it's very amazing. So the GETFund was created by an Act of Parliament, Act 2000, Act 581, and it started operation in August 2001. And it has a core mandate to provide supplementary funding for tertiary, secondary, basic, the agencies under the ministry, and other agencies that are para to the Ministry of Education. They also operate on government policy and program support. And the most famous part, that's a scholarship. If about 70%, if we ask them, what do you know about GETFund? They will just tell you that, oh, scholarship. I think the students here are also learning something, or they want to know how scholarship, they will benefit from scholarship. But that takes just 5% of our budget. So there are more to the money that we get. As at 2024, September, that is the last quarter that we left, GETFund was owing contractors to about 0.9 of a billion. That is about 900, thereabout, million Ghana cedis. The total number of projects, 11,248. That is since GETFund inception. So far, 11,248 projects. Out of which 7,679 has been completed. The same snapshot in September, from looking at projects from January to September. So as at January 2017 or December 2016, there were 3,897 ongoing projects, 2,749 initiated projects. So from 2017 up to date, 2,749 projects, out of which 3,077 projects are completed, leaving us with 3,569 ongoing projects. We'll be talking about numbers, and then we'll relate the numbers to something else. We've been able to, so we have three monitoring zonal offices in the country, one in Kumasi, one in Accra, and one in Tamale. Now we look at the government's achievements from 2017 to 2024. So we're going to talk about our stewardship, the board of Trustee and Management from 2017. And you can see the E-block, the built industry, and we talk of educational support and educational quality improvement. So you see the model schools, that's a pictorial representation. You see the buses that have been lined up. A lot of schools benefited from the buses. Before 2017, no government has been able to make provision of such a huge amount of buses for schools to benefit. So you see, when you're moving through town, you see a bus and then you see that donated by GETFund. It means that the taxes that you are using, that is where it comes from. Then all the district education units, they were provided with buses. That is the first time in Ghana. Then education, we also try to improve the quality of education. So we begin with the built infrastructure. And you see that beautiful edifice in there. That is the 9 model schools. And we go on to the breakdown in the 16 regions. That is the 2,709 plus schools by regional distribution. So if you look at it, this is a very good achievement. 101. Secondary school, 1,161. The model schools, 9, and TVET centers, 4, and tertiary, 74. So by regional representation, we go into the down. We have Ahafo, Bono East. And you see iconic projects that we've done in there. So that is Bono. And the building that you see there is Kwasi SHS, Ekumfi Ameyao SHS, Notre Dame SHS. So for the basic, when you break it down, 158, secondary school 131, tertiary 7. We move on to OT region and Volta region. For OT region, basics 260, secondary 64, tertiary 7. And Sogakope SHS, EP SHS, and OT SHS, and even many more. Then we move on to Savannah, which has 114 basic school, and then secondary school 87, tertiary 5. And you see that the one that is in, I think you see it as bluish, it is the only project that was initiated in this government at the tertiary level and then completed. And this was recently commissioned by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Then in Upper West, Northeast region, you see Korongo SHS, Kongu SHS, Bolgatanga Girls SHS, Tumu SHTS. Region, we go on to Central, Western, and then Western North. And there basic 197, secondary 191, TVET 1, tertiary 13. You see that beautiful edifice by Adisadel College. That was their its assembly hall. Very, very beautiful. And Infantine girls also had their share. Then in Ashanti region, basic school 451, secondary school 281, TVET 2, tertiary 12, and Offensu North, St. Louis College of Education in Brome. That edifice is also a nice one. Then we come to Easton. It also follows the same. 392, 298, TVET 1, tertiary 18. So these are initiated projects. Now we come to project completion update. If you all remember, when the free SHS came on, enrollment tripled. The numbers went up. So it meant that we had to find a way to accommodate the students in there. So we had to refocus ourselves, and we had to also complete the legacy projects, because you cannot say that there's been increment in the system. So you have to build only new projects to absorb the student. So you have to do multiple things at the same time. So completion of legacy projects, the E-block was targeted. The secondary education improvement projects was also continued. New secondary school emergency projects. And then there was also the increase in support for the ministry and its agencies. I can say that the collaboration with GETFund and then the various agencies under the ministry, the 8 years has been the most, I don't even know the word to use, but the collaboration has been good, funding has been so well, and that is how come most of the agencies under the ministry are now performing, because GETFund is supporting them for them to do their work. The figure that you see there, 3,077, these are the projects that has been completed since 2017. And when you look at the figures, the legacy project from 2017 and the current projects, you see that the legacy projects are more than what the new ones. This debunk those that say that we've abandoned projects, because the facts here shows that more of the legacy projects have been completed than those ones that have been initiated. So it debunks that assertion that we hear on the news that GETFund has abandoned projects, GETFund has abandoned projects. The facts here is that even in terms of percentage, you will find out that about 580 more legacy projects were completed compared to that. And in terms of percentage, it's about 19% more than the new ones that has been initiated. So that assertion that the fund has deliberately left those projects, and I will give you an insight why most of the projects, even though a chunk has been completed, some are still ongoing. Another controversial project is the E-blocks. And for the E-blocks, as at 2016 December, the total number of the E-blocks that GETFund funded is 101. 101. In December 2016, only 22 of them have been completed. As we're speaking, 16 has been completed, 21 most of the contractors left the site. Not because they've not been paid, but for a reason. The contract wasn't economically viable. So for the E blocks, the reason why the contract, a lot of them were not, the contractors left the site was mainly due to the contract not being economically viable. So we had to come, sit down with them. That's one of the problems. We had to come, sit down with them, and then revise the rates. 21 of them have gotten the go-ahead. 15 are now awaiting rate revision before they can go on to complete. 27 of them have been put on hold by the ministry because for them it was just clearing of the site. Aside that, those that were in the hinterland, and then we saw that they cannot be used because it was a day school. So where they were located had a problem. An example is Etuem in the central region. The school was reopened, but in some few months the student left the school. So beautiful edifice in places that commuting to the school has become very difficult. It's either you provide a bus to bus them in and then bring them out if you want to operate a day school, or you build facility for them. And that is exactly that we did. 8 of them have been, we've put in dormitories, some of them teacher assembly hall, teacher flats, principal bungalows, and a lot of them. And these are the projects. Facts don't lie. For the model schools, and the model school, if you look at a single model school, the infrastructure there, when you count them one, it's more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a very huge edifice, and it has hostel facilities. It has dormitories. It has whatever to complement a school. So this was the approach that we used. Completing the ongoing projects that we came to meet, doing new projects, and then setting up a complete school. Because if you have to set up a complete school, it's a number of years for you to finish. So we use this approach, and we're able to achieve what we've achieved today. And then we move on to the TVET Center, supporting tertiary education too. 4 of the TVET centers, 2 completed, 2 about completion, almost completed. So all the 4 before December will be completed. What are the models? The normal carpentry, electrical, dressmaking, and all are all part of what is in the system. So this is the TVET program. Now I leave you to some of the projects that we've done. The secondary school project, that can be fast. Dormitory blocks, that can also be fast. And now, what do we do with the ongoing projects? Because that is the big headache that at the fund we are facing. Little money, more projects in the bush. So we have to find a way so that we complete those projects. Currently, like I said, 3,596. The breakdown is what we have there. Basic 1,890, SHS 1,303, Model School 7, E blocks 64, TVET 3, Tertiary 303. The first thing that we are saying, and that seeks to help in trying to make sure that these ongoing projects are completed within record time is, and I would like to announce this, that all contractors owing, the IPC that we own contractors, this year, the 2024 budget, will bring every contractor that we owe in up to December 2023. We'll clear all arrears. It is part of the budget that has been approved from us. I came and then met arrears that were as far back as 2013. It kept on coming. But by this arrangement, by the time that I leave GETFund, we'll be in the current year. And that is what we're doing. So, it will be contractors saying that, oh, GETFund, they are owing me, GETFund, they are owing me. We'll be in the current year, and every contractor that works to GETFund, and they bring the certificate in that current year, will pay the contractor. So we will not be piling arrears, and that is one step that we're going to do. The second thing is, all the ongoing projects, we have a 3-year plan. And for that 3-year plan, which we started this year, in the 3rd year, we hope to achieve about, that is the project zero. So what we're saying is that we are not going to owe contractors in arrears, and we are also going to make sure that in the 3-year, we have a plan to complete all ongoing projects. If we get 80% success, so the 3-year completion plan, there is a roadmap and there is a financing associated with it. So this year, 60% or more of our budget was just chalked for completion of projects and then arrears. It was basically on projects. The project completion model was tabled at Parliament, which they all saw that it was very wise. And I told you that contractors are businessmen. Let us not forget about that. If they are building and they find out that at the end they will lose, they will leave the job. Even though they've taken it, they will leave it. So what we are saying right now is, and we started it this year, we want to make it economically viable for them to also work. So all of them, we are revising the rate. And the project completion model takes into account the amount of money that we should need within these 3 years, so that projects that are stalled will be things of the past. Anybody who comes to GETFund, if you go by this plan, and then you make sure that every project that you do, you have budgetary allocation to it, there won't be that story again. So the 0.9 that I'm saying that we owe in, and I've already said that we're going to do that, 80% completion. The total amount to complete this project is 6.1 billion Ghana cedis. GETFund has not been in the built industry alone. And for the educational sector, we do a lot of support. For the Teacher First policy, I'm going to talk about it. The support to the agency and its ministry, education sector support, and then quality education improvement support. We've already seen these buses. 2,718 vehicles between 2017 to date. We've given it out. It is your money. It is your money. It's also your money. And that is how judiciously we've used your money. So now, I remember when I was in secondary school, we had this thing that they called the bone shaker. And that was what we were commuting. That wooden cholori, that's what we were using. But now you can sit in the comfort of your cars, the buses, air conditioning, donated by GETFund. Give a clap to GETFund. The district directors are not left out. Now you can see somebody with #7, not a front, with a driver. GETFund, donated by GETFund. Circuit supervisors were not left out. They gave them motors for them to commute. And then the directors of education, they had a V6 Toyota, Toyota Prado. All of them were given these buses. Yeah. I always tell people that I was a teacher once. So I'm always, when it comes to teacher, I have a soft spot for them. So GETFund, since 2018, became the headline sponsors for the teacher education. And I don't know if a lot of you know that the one teacher, one laptop, 360,000 paid for by GETFund. That is the laptop. One thing that also people are not aware is this white marker boards that we did. In the secondary school sector, we've changed every blackboard into whiteboards. Currently, there are 5 regions that are moving from blackboards. We've already changed blackboards into whiteboard. You know that the blackboard, that black thing that they put in, that battery cell, is a cancer-causing agent. It's a cancer-causative agent. And we're making sure that we give our students, the people, something very dignified. So that is what is ongoing, and we hope to continue it next year. Some also receive the interactive boards. So your money is being used quite reasonably. There are a lot of laboratories that we've also changed, not the old laboratories. And for the students, I don't know if you've gotten yours. The one student, one laptop. One student, one tablet. You haven't received yours? No, you are not part. It's here that I have to. Because GETFund, not the secondary school, but we did it in the secondary school. And for that, GETFund has procured 450,000. We've paid for it, 450,000. So that's our support to secondary school education. Under the agencies, we look at, we give supplementary funding to Scholarship Secretariat, to Student Loan Trust. We also contribute to GTech. And for the Ghana Library Board, you see, can we move to the next slide? Ghana Library Board, an agency under the ministry, the support that we've given them. Just over 2 years, we've been able to provide 210 million to YEA for the support of the various youth models that they do. 210 million. For the teacher prize, we are the headline sponsors, and aside that, there is something that when I get to scholarship, that is my second segment. We do something for the teacher prize, and I'll mention it there. But I think we give the highest amount of money for the Ghana teacher prize. Now, key interventions and initiative. We've already talked about the infrastructure audit, the measures that we put at post, the establishment of the monitoring nationwide, the monitoring units, funding capacity improvement initiative, we'll talk about that. So in 2017, when we came, these were some of the drastic measures that we put in. To put on hold all awards and reviews, that sanitize the system, because hitherto the district assembly, the regional coordinating councils were awarding contracts at the blind side of GETFund. So we had to put some sanity into that. And we also came up with cost rationalization of projects. If it is a 6-unit classroom block, we have to redesign it and then make sure that we get money, value for money in the design process, and we had to do a redesigning engineering. Now, the projects department, which used to be just purposely vetting of certificate, move on to the taking due diligence, where you have to get the contract document before you be able to vet. Before that, you can bring your IPC and then they vet it. IPC is interim payment certificate, the one that contractors bring to you and then you claim. It has to get a historical background. If you don't have that history per the contract, you can pay and then think that the values on it are okay. So we have to institute that, more due diligence of certificate vetting. And I can tell you that there are certificates that are at the project department that hasn't been paid for, and it is still sitting there. No contract document. There isn't anything to support it. Hitherto, it would have gone through and then payment would have been done. But this due diligence has saved us for the fund. And then the securitization of the loan facility, I don't want to bore you about, because I've explained why you have to go onto the bond market and then borrow. I hear some people saying that GETFund has been collateralized, which I said no. I can announce to you here that there's no assignment of our receivables towards that bond alone. GETFund has been relieved of that securitization. So we don't assign any money for that securitization. That was a very smart borrowing. We started with it and we've ended with it. More controls at the new project award, and then there were other measures that we put on. We were able to put into place in order not to affect the fund. Now, our digitalization drive is where I'm coming to. That's the big thing about this whole thing that we're doing here, the digital transformation. So, before 2017 and then even thereafter, everything was based on paper. Payment of contractor, award of contract, everything was based on paper. We've now introduced the activity tracking, project monitoring evaluation system, and this is the game changer. So, for any contractor or any person or any awarding agency to be able to do a GETFund project, he has to get a financial clearance. And this financial clearance will be generated on a portal. So it means that no awarding body, be it the university, be it the regional coordinating council, be it the assembly, whatever, the awarding, if you don't get financial clearance from GETFund, you cannot award. You see how we are using your money? Very judiciously. So that is the starting point. Now, because GETFund, we don't involve ourselves in procurement, what we are saying is that go ahead and do your procurement. At the tail end of your procurement, come back to GETFund. Come and get a letter of no objection. So irrespective of whatever you do, the procurement that you do at your end, if you find out that the contractor is not a worthy contractor, the contractor is not going by A, B, and C principle or whatever, or the contractor has a history of taking GETFund or getting GETFund projects and then abandon, we will not give you the letter of no objection. That ends the period. It brings sanity into the system. And I'm going to demonstrate something here because that is the meat of my conversation in here. That system can also monitor projects. So I sit in the comfort of my office. I just open my tablet. A dashboard comes in. I'll be able to see project A, project B, contractor A, the number of projects that contractor A has. Any project, I can even sit in my office, zoom, and then see a real life picture of the project. So if you come to my office and then you say that, oh, they haven't paid me, that system will show that contractor A has been paid and he was paid on such and such and such a date. There is notification to the consultant. So if a consultant is supervising the work of a contractor, the moment that the contractor gets payment, the consultant is alerted. The regional coordinating council that the contractor is working is also alerted. So there will be no ambiguity as to yetuameka or yentuameka. Can we move on to the key features of the ATP? Thank you. So, activity planning and then tracking. Sitting in your office, you can do all these things. Streamlining and automation, monitoring and reporting, and then contract management. So, the system is loaded with the project, the total number of money that is given to GETFund. Let's say X amount. So at the beginning of the year, X amount is populated onto the system. And then we start disbursing. The moment that it gets to X minus X, it's getting to X minus X. It means that the whole thing is getting finished. The system will shut down. So it means that even the administrator cannot do over-awarding of contract. So the system itself is built that it will let you not go above the budget. Let me do a small presentation. So we have the external field, the activity tracking portal, and then project portfolio. For instance, contractor A, you can populate all the projects that contractor A has in the country. If you want project segregation by region, you can get all the region. If you want it by district, you can get it by district. If you want project that a consultant has in the country, you can get it on your system. So this will allow us to see the contractors that maybe he will take job 2 in Ashanti region, go and take job 2 in Eastern region, go and take job 3 in Volta region, and then he has a lot of them and cannot complete them. Based on this software too, we'll be able to know the tracking record of a contractor. Maybe this contractor finishes his contract in a certain time. Then we know that that contractor is a very good contractor. So that will enable us to categorize the contractors into grade A, grade B, grade C. So all that we can do is to advise and then tell you that these contractors that are in our system are very good, and you can take them and then give them contract. Can we move on to the dashboard, and then we give how the system works? The IT team. So for the dashboard, you see that at the tip end, the total number of projects, 11,246. You can get the total amount, that is the quantum of money that these 11,000 projects consist of. So you have the project, you have the financing, you have the reporting, you have the users, you have the contractor, and then the consultant on the left side. You can get the financials. Where the financials, an overview of the financial. This will give you a track system of your budgetary allocation. Like I said, the total amount of money given you, that's the amount that you can spend for the year. So you give contract that commensurates the budget that has been given. And this will help us to analyze our expenditure pattern. We can track projects rate. So I sit in my office this week, I look at the picture, next week that same contract, I look at it. If there's been improvement, I can sit in my office and be able to know that this contractor is working or he's not working. It will also help us in planning so that we'll know that for Eastern region, maybe 100 schools, basic school has been given, and for a particular region or district, there is lack of infrastructure. So in the planning process, it will help us in our budgetary allocation. And then it can also generate a project reporting. And I tell you, this database that we have is going to change the face of how projects are done in the country. Can you give me, a live, yeah. So the activity flow, I'm going through the system. The activity flow, we have the budget, the distribution formula that Parliament has approved with. Then we plan. Once we sit down and then plan and they know how we're going to spend that money, we talk to the awarding bodies, that is the Ministry of Education, FEMU, Regional Coordinating Council, MMDAs, Ministry of MOA agencies, and then the tertiary institution. We tell them that this is the amount that we have and we can spend within this budget. So a financial clearance is generated and then you go on to procure. When you procure, you can come back to us and then you get your letter of no objection. With this, we know that the GETFund operation will be enhanced, and if we are able to work within our budgetary constraint, the fund will be run on a sustainable basis. Not where you'll be at the fund and you hear contractors chanting in the street that you owe them and they are coming for your life. This is something of the past. Now, for the past few years, I've sat in GETFund in absolute tranquility, no contractor comes there. They don't. But it is out there that we owe contractors. And I'm telling you that by the end of this year, all the contractors, if we say we owe contract to be the current year, and we're going to use more innovative ways in order to make whatever has been given us more meaningful. Because when money is given to you and you contributed and you also contributed, we should make sure that your money is used judiciously and we make good decisions for you. So if the video is ready, let's do a demonstration for them to see how it is. It has been talk, but something has to be shown for you to see what. This ends my segment 1. The segment 2 will be on scholarship. Can we see if you have it?
All our hopes, all our expectations for a brighter tomorrow will only come to fruition if we can guarantee an educated and skilled work.
IT, are you ready? Okay. If they are not, can you just show another video before I start? I start with mine. And I know a lot of the students here.
A look at the national budget gives a clear indication of where our priority lies, and it is with education.
The previous chapter, Building Bridges, Transforming Lives and Basic Education, showcased GETFund's significant role in enhancing Ghana's educational infrastructure by constructing and renovating over 6,000 projects. These efforts have provided millions of children with supportive learning environments and established a strong foundation for quality education. With the introduction of new government policies targeting the secondary education sector, there has been a substantial increase in secondary school enrollment, creating a need for expanded infrastructure. In response, GETFund has implemented innovative solutions and launched various initiatives to ensure that secondary education remains accessible, equitable, and of high quality for all students in Ghana. But as we celebrate these achievements, the journey continues. The introduction of the free SHS policy ushered in a new chapter, one that brought with it a significant increase in enrollment and a pressing need for expansion in secondary education remains accessible and of high quality for all students in Ghana. But as we celebrate these achievements, the journey continues. The introduction of the free SHS policy ushered in a new chapter, one that brought with it a significant increase in enrollment and a pressing need for expanded infrastructure. Now, let's delve into how GETFund is meeting the demands of a growing student population and ensuring that secondary education in Ghana is accessible, equitable, and of the highest quality.
Before the advent of MPP, nearly 35% of students who qualified to enter secondary schools did not attend schools. So for every 100 students, 35 just didn't go, not because they didn't pass, but because they didn't have the financial wherewithal. For those 65 that went to school, 22%, nearly 18 of them, also fell along the wayside because they couldn't have the financial wherewithal to continue. For those who even completed for their examination, a huge percentage, nearly a third, from a quarter to a third, could not get their certificates because they couldn't fulfill their financial obligations in their schools. So there was a lot of talent wastage.
As Ghana entered the 21st century, secondary education became a focal point for national development. Historical reforms, particularly in the late 1980s, aimed to expand access and improve the quality of secondary education. By 2001, enrollment in senior high schools was on the rise, reflecting a growing demand for education among the 16 to 18-year cohort. This trend continued with the free SHS program, propelling enrollment from 204,000 in 2001 to 1.4 million students by 2022. Successive governments have initiated several key projects and programs to enhance secondary education. These innovations and the construction of new facilities.
So when His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa came up with the free senior high school policy, the free senior high school policy enabled everybody who had passed the BEC, except those who failed in English or math or both English and math, to attend secondary school. The cutoff point had dramatically improved from 24 to 50-something to gain access, because we believed just by gaining access to secondary school, you are improving the human resource base of the country. You are bringing more skilled and more knowledgeable kids into the job market. The idea that people stopped at BEC when they were 15 and they were not qualified to work was an anomaly in the system.
There's no doubt that the free senior high school program is the most audacious piece of social intervention in our Fourth Republic. The pre-independence program for free education covered primary education and later the university. The secondary sector was beyond the capacity of the state. None of the reforms since have dared move the dial through that space. The decision to take the plunge, therefore, had to be truly ambitious, and it is no wonder it has kept education at the top of national discourse. There is undoubted merit in the government argument that if we are preparing our children to compete in the global economy of today, then they should be entitled to the same level of basic education as children in other climates. Since basic education elsewhere encompasses secondary or high schools, it's only fair that we also upgrade our basic education. In that sense, therefore, offering free senior high school is doing no more than meeting the obligation to provide the basic education for all.
This is why my government is today beginning the implementation of the free senior high school policy.
The implementation of the free secondary school education policy in Ghana resulted in a significant surge in secondary education enrollment. Between 2016 and 2019, enrollment figures rose from 881,600 to 1,264,071 students, marking a notable 43% increase. This unprecedented growth underscored the urgent need for expanded infrastructure to accommodate the growing student population. To prevent any child education opportunities, the government embarked on substantial infrastructure investments. In the 2018-19 academic year, the influx of junior high school graduates into senior high schools exceeded the previous year's enrollment by 30.7%. A thorough gap analysis revealed the necessity to create an additional 181,993 spaces in senior high schools, particularly in elite institutions, to effectively accommodate the growing numbers of students.
GETFund is at the front and center of our free secondary education policy. We live in a world where without buildings, you cannot do education very well. So if you look at the strategy of the president, ensuring that we opened the floodgates of secondary education to all, irrespective of where they resided, irrespective of their income status. The first consideration and the first question that came to the mind of everyone was, where are the buildings?
That talks about scholarship. So, for scholarship, we'll look at the overview, the sponsorship criteria, what is new, scholarship process and reform, 2024 scholarship program, and the way forward. So, in all, an average of 2,400 scholars are done every year, and both local and foreign in their lifetime, about 36,000 students have benefited. Normally, we look at 70%. This is information for the students, because very soon you are in SSS. Very soon, when you get into the tertiary sector, you'll be chasing scholarship to supplement your funding. So we do the general scholarship, the one that you people know most. And then there's the faculty development that is done through GTech. That is the PhD level. And then we do professional enhancement and capacity building. We have the Ghana government organizations, that's the police service, the prison service, the fire service, the judicial service, cyber security authority, and then the others. We sponsor them for their capacity building. And then the educational program and activity, like the monthly girls, we sponsor them for the robotics. Prempeh College too, we've done that for them. And then there are one or two requests that comes in our way, and then we support them to do those programs. In the same vein, the scholarship process used to be the paperwork, the paper type. So you submit your paper, you submit your documentation at the front desk of GETFund. There are times that it gets missing. There are times that it gets choked in a pile of papers. But now we've got the digital way where you sit in the comfort of your school and you're able to access scholarship on the online portal. You don't need to travel from Tumu, Bole, or Enchi and then come to GETFund. You just have to do that on the online portal. We've also, the unit, we've also revamped we've given them the necessary equipment and them facilities that can help them to do their work. There's also the stakeholders engagement of universities, and I'll come to that when we get to that level. So, last year, we introduced sponsorship for persons with special needs, and it is something that is also new in our system. So for the year 2023-2024 academic year, all special needs students that were identified were given free scholarship at our end. Nobody who was found to be a person of special need had rejection from the fund. The Teacher Prize Award, like I said, the first prize teacher had an award to do the master's program in any of the selected university of his or her choice, and we gave sponsorship. As we're speaking right now, the 2022 as in UK doing her masters, and we continue to do that. The other awardees, we give them scholarship to upgrade themselves in any program of their choice in Ghana. So the first prize winner gets the award to go outside. But the others, all the others, get local sponsored programs. Tuition fee discount for sponsored students. So there are some of them that get full scholarship and some to get partial scholarship. And for this year, for the foreign scholarship, we introduced something, and I will let you know what that is when I get to that level. But from the 2016-2017, 333 were the only scholarships that were given to students in the local education, local sponsorship. As I'm speaking right now, the number has risen to 5,026 plus in the 2023-2024 academic year. This, I call it a wow increment. And this is towards empowering local universities and then expanding reach and impact. And all these have been made possible because even this number, if we were to sign directly with the paper trail, it would have taken us about 9 months to do it. But this is done in just a period of 2 months. We'll finish with scholarship, and then the other one is the scholarship management aspect. So for the scholarship, this is the history. If you look at the graph, you see what we've been able to, and this dovetails the argument that I was making that we've now turned our attention to local scholarship more than the foreign scholarship. And you see those increments that we have from 2017 up to 2024. Those in some of the years, there were no foreign scholarship. That's where you see the spaces over there. Now the scholarship process. So for the students, somebody will ask me, the man is talking, how can I get scholarship? One, you have to be a citizen of Ghana. So if you are not a Ghanaian, don't venture. Your program should be relevant to national development. That is one key. And then your performance also plays an important role. And the university that you're going to should be a recognized university. If it is not accredited, you can't get the sponsorship. And for those going on the foreign journey, you must demonstrate a commitment to return to Ghana. Most of them, when they get that, they say, oh, that is an opportunity for us to just run away from the country. But for now, there is a good thing that you're going to hear. GETFund board decided that, oh, we'll give you 2 years after your studies. Once you get a work that is related to your course, you write to us and then we give you that clearance so that you can work for 2 years before you return to Ghana. Clap for GETFund because it's something that is good in your ears. We are also biased when it comes to female education. So we give more scholarship to ladies. Ladies, clap for the fund. The men, don't ambush me when I'm leaving. Because we are lady biased when it comes to scholarship award. And I've already said we are STEM focused. So the process, before then, I tell you, people come to me, they come with their, they will come maybe a file with their application letter, all the other supporting documents. They come and then cry in my office. Some come and then you are even touched by the number of tears that flows through their eyes when it comes to scholarship. But being smart, what I decided was do it online. Nobody should enter GETFund with what? A piece of a paper or application form. If you don't go through the online process, there's no way that you can come to it. Somebody will come, and then at the end of it all, he will bring those other. You see a chief in the cloth, or my henny of this, and then this is my daughter and administrator. This is try and help me. Now you go through the online portal. I don't see you. You don't come to my office. When we are selecting, the board does it, and we publish it. So that system has been what? Curtailed. The same way contractors, now when you come to GETFund, they are paid through their account. So they don't come and then come and see me. They don't even know me. They've heard my name. But some of them, they will tell you that, oh, that man in the office, he's paying contractor, but he doesn't know me. That's it. You work through system, and then that helps you, and then you move on. So for the 2024 scholarship, the local one, I said 5,026. This is also online. And I'll come to the foreign one that we did. For the foreign one, 224 awardees were given this year. Out of that, 131 male, 93 female. Don't ask me that I said I'm female bias. Why is it that it has changed? It depends on other factors. Like I said, the STEM, the grades, and all those in the class that you got. So it means that even the 93, some of the ladies were pushed out. That's how come they get the 93. In all, STEM, 175, humanities, 49. We're going by that ratio, making sure that we push in more projects that are that will help the nation building. So we set out to also engage in our partners, and this has been very helping. So there were partners that we went to, and some of them, Nottingham, Bradford University, Coventry, Stirling, Brunel, University of Sheffield, University of Westminster, Lancaster, Robert Gordon, Leicester, Southampton, Aberdeen. And do you know what they do for us? Because GETFund scholarship were being managed in a way that they found it that this is a partner that they can work with. They came to us. Some of them, we also went to them. And then we formed partnership with them. Some are giving us 30% discount, even some to the tune of 50% discount. It means that the money that has been given for scholarship, we can even do what? More in terms of numbers, using the same amount of money. And that is the way forward. So it means that we are using your money judiciously. And these partners are the ones that has been able to help us to do those numbers. I was looking at 180 for the year, but it came out that we were able to do the number that I could, 224. So the number would have been 180, but at the end, based on what they were able to do with us, we were able to what? Do more. And our partners have been supportive enough for us. Another thing that we did this year was, for the first time, we hired a consultant, not a consultant. There are about 4 of them, and They help the students to get their visa free of charge. So we didn't pay anything for them. And they enable a lot of our students to have visa. And Mr. Chair, before I sit down, the fund that we operate, we must always find an innovative way to make things happen, so that at the end of it all, it is not just spending, but once you've been given that tax to spend, we should use wisdom to it, so that we can give more than what we are expected to give. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, the board chair, the board members. Thank you, the management of GETFund. It's been wonderful working with you.
Please, one more time. We salute you, our fearless leader, for your perseverance, for your innovation, and your steadfast commitment to supporting the delivery of quality education to Ghana. A lot has been said, and I believe it sets the tone for the wonderful conversation we're going to have. But we've been sitting for too long. You, they feel the vibe. Oh, come on, you, they feel the vibe. I beg, make you up. Everybody, I beg you. We're young people. Even the man at the front here is a young man. Please. So we're going to do something. Just shake ourselves a little bit. All right? Are we ready? So you know this song. All right? You they feel the vibe. You they feel the vibe. Oh, say we they feel the vibe. Oh, we they feel the vibe. We they feel the vibe. One left to the right side. One leg to the. Come on. One leg to the right side. One leg to the. One leg to the left side. Let's go. One left to the. Everybody left. One left to the left side. One leg to the. Now everybody, go down low. Go down low. Come on, go down low. Go down low. Go down low. Everybody up. Put your hands together for yourselves. Now I know you are awake and armed with curiosity and really expectation and great enthusiasm. I believe it's important that we receive our panel who would flesh out all the issues that have been raised. Our conversations today will border on two broad themes: the projects and the scholarships. Would you please make welcome the first panel who would speak to the projects: Nilante Kwakupom, Professor Safo Mensah, Dr. Asari Ajay, Dr. Fred Che Asamoah, and the moderator, broadcast journalist with the Media General, Bella Mundi. A round of applause for them as they come.
But my name is Bella Mundi, and thank you again for joining us. We're going to be having a conversation about projects, and Administrator has spoken lengthily about it, so we're just going to go into it straight away. But let me just quickly introduce one more guest, and then we will carry on. And unfortunately, I'm not sure Dr. Asari Ajay would be able to join us, but we also have another guest who will be joining us. That's Mr. Emmanuel Cherry. He's the CEO of Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry. And so if we can put our hands together for Mr. Emmanuel Cherry as he joins us. And while he does so, I would like to again say thank you to our guests and our panel for joining us this morning. I have again Professor Safo Mensah from GETFund. He's a consultant for GETFund for SOTA. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. And we also have Dr. Freche Asamoah. He's the Director General for CTVET. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for joining us again. And congrats on the TVET Skills Week as well. So we're going to be speaking about the project. And of course, we need to have a better understanding beyond what admin has said. These are the people who are also working directly with GETFund, benefiting from some of the contracts and of course, handling monitoring and evaluation. And so we need to have a better understanding of how it's been so far in the last year. Last year we were here, we had a conversation, but we're back here again. I remember that you were also on the panel at that time. And so this is just going to be an update of what had happened between last year and now. And so I'll start off with you, Mr. Cherry. And just from what Administrator has said, back to what has happened so far, give us an update on what monitoring has gone on to ensure that, you know, the right projects are handled by GETFund.
Thank you very much, my good sister. It's a pleasure meeting you once again. And then good afternoon to all key stakeholders and then the management of GETFund. We must sincerely commend the organizers of this very wonderful program, because this is an interface that normally offers us an opportunity as industry players interfacing with the public sector institutions as well as departments. I believe if all the other sectors will be doing this, the country would have moved a bit faster than what we are seeing it to be. So kudos to GETFund and then the administrator as well.
And just before you carry on, if I could quickly check again if Neil Antekwa is here. He's the Director for Fund Procurement and Monitoring Unit at the Ministry of Education. Is he here with us? All right. Well, hopefully he can join us much later. But please carry on, Mr. Cherry.
Yeah. Going back to last year, as you rightly said, we had some very beautiful discussion here last year concerning monitoring and evaluation as being introduced by GETFund. And then there were certain balloons concerning the classifications of contractors and what have you. I believe they have reviewed their notes accordingly. Because sincerely, before you can say contractor A, this contractor is contractor A, or is outweighing this particular contractor, there are technicalities aspect of it. So I'm very happy that the fund manager has been able to, even though it was in a passing comment, but it wasn't categorical as it was last year. However, concerning the monitoring, I believe a lot of work has been done, and we must applaud the management of GETFund for that as well. But the challenge we are having as industry players happens to be payment. You and I know, as the GETFund administrator made mention of, he said, we contractors, we are businessmen. But we are not only businessmen, we are professionals as well. So therefore, we also have the country at heart. However, we are not Father Christmas. We are doing business to earn a living. The same way that the government has employed all the workers here and paid them at the end of the month, same also we the contractors also offers ourselves for services. So anytime at all we render service, we are expecting a reward. So if the reward is not coming, that is where the challenge comes in. And then the GETFund administrator made mention of he has been very peaceful at office and thereabout. I must tell him that it's as a result of the chamber and then the various association. If not so, it could have been a disaster, sincerely.
What would the chamber have done not to give him peace in his office?
You know, we have a very powerful leadership in place that talks to the contractors and then interact with them on, how do you call it, mentally, weekly, basic, quarterly basis. So one thing that you must comment the GETFund administration currently is that they are open for information dissemination. So if the information comes, at times it makes the work a bit easier for us. But if you don't have the information, or the information is very scanty in the system, that's where speculation set in. And if speculation comes in, that is where you see the agitation. So that's one thing we must, applaud the GETFund administration for. But sincerely, we are hungry.
But you are hungry. But I think that we can put our hands together for Doc and his team if you listen to Mr. Cherry, clearly they've done a good job in ensuring that there's information dissemination. And I'll come back to you on that issue of but you're hungry, so you can expatiate on that. But let me go to Professor Safo Mensah. Again, he's a GETFund consultant with FASOTA. And I just want to find out from you. Now, if you look at the educational terrain, a lot of things are changing. The needs are increasing by the day. Of course, if you look at even free SHS, for example, it has also increased the number of students who have gone to the second cycle institutions. And that puts more pressure on facilities and the other tertiary institutions as well. And so if you look at all the strategies that have been implemented so far by GETFund, what would you say has been done to improve or address these needs within the educational sector?
Okay, thank you very much, and good afternoon to everyone. And thank you to GETFund also for making it possible for us to share our experience. As you rightly said, as consultants, I can speak to the strategies that GETFund has adopted over the years. One of them was to, first of all, do what we call an infrastructure audit. And being expertise in those areas, we were selected, through procurement processes, to audit the infrastructure, especially at the secondary school level. And we realized the needs, basic needs in terms of the lack of dormitories, especially in the remote areas, lack of classrooms, and a lot, and also lack of IT infrastructure. And so, based on these infrastructure audits, the GETFund decided to adopt a procurement means where they will employ supervising consultants. And so that the procurement was done at another level, and then the supervision was also done at another level, which actually quickened the process. And based on that, we could see from the presentation that was done by the administrator that a lot of projects have been handed over. For instance, the area that we as consultants, we are handling, out of over 2,700 projects that have been, we are handling maybe around 130 or so, but about 80% of them have been handed over within a very short time. And you can see that that has actually reduced the infrastructure gap at the secondary school levels. So that strategy that was adopted by GETFund actually helped in improving that. And there was also another strategy that GETFund adopted, which reduced the time of payment. In Ghana here, within the contract administration landscape, there's a normal period for honoring payment certificate, which is normally 28 days or 56 days. But GETFund decided to reduce this to 3 weeks. And when that challenge was thrown, some of the consultants, we didn't actually believe, because it was practically difficult. But GETFund was able to do that, and some of them were even being paid in less than 3 weeks. And so that actually quickened the pace at which contractors were delivering the job, and also the pace at which consultants were also supervising the jobs. And that actually led to the increment in the completion rate of these projects. These are some of the strategies that I can speak to for now. Thank you.
See. Now, in talking about that, then we might as well also talk about the global challenges. And Dr. Fred, I'll come to you shortly, but let me just stay with you, Prof. Now, the global challenges, let's talk about even COVID-19, for example. It's changed the way we do things globally. Now there's more, focus on using the internet, relying on technology. And Doc, when he was doing his presentation, also touched heavily on the digital transformation aspect of the GETFund administration and what they've been able to do so far. And so in looking at all these strategies, you may not have mentioned all of them, but I also want us to touch on some of the strategies that have brought about some digital transformation in providing even laptops for some of these students, enabling that some of these students are even able to study remotely, making it easier for teachers as well to be able to teach these students remotely, etc. Touch on that briefly for me.
Yeah, thank you very much. Some of the strategies that I can touch on is the Smart School project, which GETFund actually has rolled out in some areas, and then the COVID-19 response. The Smart School project has actually, the major aim was to modernize the entire education system through online learning and digitalization. And you realize that in remote areas where it would have been difficult for people to have access, because we were able to put the infrastructure, they have the space to also do some of these there are challenges anyway. I wouldn't say they are not. There are challenges, but there has been an improvement. And then in terms of the COVID-19 response, what I have seen is the Ghana Learning TV initiative and other digital learning tools that you can access online that have been provided by GETFund. These are the strategies that, from my point of view, have been initiated by GETFund to as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic that occurred, and it has given access to those that are in the remote areas. The challenge is that in the very remote areas, the infrastructure that will support IT needs to be improved. Because if you go to, we have been going to some of the remote areas, and sometimes you find it difficult to connect to the internet because of maybe a low bandwidth and a poor network. And I'm sure that the GETFund will look at those areas so that we can improve the achievement so far. Thank you.
All right. Now, Dr. Fred Chimensa, again, when it comes to the work you've done with the CTVET, it's incredible. I mean, Dr. Fred Chimensa. Yes, thank you very much for that correction. And I was just talking about the work that has gone into ensuring that TVET, gets a facelift when it comes to the entire country. And Doctor was also talking about how much has been invested in even ensuring that there are some 4 facilities, TVET facilities, that have been funded by GETFund across the country. So tell us a bit about how this has also brought about some transformation when we talk about CTVET.
Thank you very much. It's not only those 4 institutions that have been constructed from the scratch, but there are other things. Look at these 4 institutions: Asinjaka in Central, Enyinem in the Eastern region, 2 in Ashanti region, Akumada and Pechi number 2. And for the first time, I'm not sure if any tertiary institution in Ghana has a processing plant within the school. It's only in TVET institution that you can find a processing unit that has those reverse osmosis system, water supply system to enhance manufacturing. And I'm excited that we have this in Ghana now, thanks to the support of GETFund. We have been able to establish these 4 institutions. Then, of course, when you also go to these same institutions, mechatronics is the basis of Industry 4.0. And it's only in Ghana now that you can find mechatronic workshop in our secondary institution. I'm not sure even the technical universities had them. Just recently, Germany supported us to have a mechatronic equipment for Accra Technical University. But with the support with GETFund, we have mechatronic workshop in 2 of these 4 centers, and they were built from the scratch. And originally, these institutions were built to just support the local community. But because of the nature of the work after completing it, GETFund is supporting for us to add on boarding facilities. And please, let's give them a clap, because TVET, when we start operating these schools, you understand, and I'm not sure why they did not show the manufacturing of tomato paste and the rest at Enyinem. And this is happening at the secondary level. And that is what we need to do. We cannot wait till they get to the universities. I'm not sure KNUST have that processing plant in any of their workshop as we have in our technical secondary schools. Then I remember when we came in 2017, there were some projects that were stalled because of counterpart funding. And at that time, GETFund provided almost 36 million Ghana cedis for us to be able to complete this project for the technical universities. And as I'm talking to you now, the technical university, we have done a lot through the China-Ghana project, then the AVIC Planet One project and other things. But our technical universities, I believe they are here, I'm not sure if they are here. Some of them are receiving equipment as I'm talking to you for civil engineering, for mechanical engineering, welding, automotive engineering, as I'm talking to you now. And not only the technical universities, the technical institutes are also receiving some support. So as far as the collaboration with GETFund and TVET is concerned, I can say I'm excited about it. Then somewhere in 2020, GETFund supported us to get equipment to support mastercraft persons, almost 25,000 of them across the country. So it's a good thing that we are working with them.
And I think we can do better, especially for the students here. Yeah. If you are from any TVET institution, show by hand, because this goes straight into, okay, there are just a few of them.
The only thing I may put across as we go forward is to be a little bit biased towards the technical universities, because you see, we have the traditional grammar universities that get so much to support, but you put your money where your mouth is. So if we intend to turn over the conversation and really look at the number of people to go into TVET, then maybe we need to, I know this one, my brother will think I'm asking for too much, but we need to fund some kind of fund, the entire 2.5. We could start off with 0.5%. That should go to completely towards TVET. Then as we move on and we change the story, we will end up probably splitting 50-50 for TVET and for grammar education. Because look, we just finished the Africa Skills Week, and it's showing that in the next 26 years, we will have the working force in Africa doubling. That means the world will be coming to Africa for skills. For every 4 people you pick, 1 of them should be coming from Africa. So the go-to place for skills will be Africa, which Ghana is part of it. And we have to take the lead. So GETFund, the 2.5 that GETFund is getting, maybe this one, maybe that we can talk about this later. But at least we can start off by fencing about 0.5% of that money just towards TVET, because the technical universities know that we have more grammar universities as compared in terms of capacity and in terms of size. So the budget allocation through GTED that go to the technical universities is nowhere close to the grammar universities. But by 2050, which is 26 years, and it's not far.
Yeah.
So we need to do something quick and drastic. GETFund has done so much, because for the first time, constructing 4 brand new TVET tertiary institution, pre-tertiary institution from the scratch is huge. Yeah. Giving them that equipment support, which is going to the technical university, it's huge. The mastercraft person support is huge, but I think Oliver will always ask for more.
For more,
because of 2050.
Because of 2050, and Doc was for that 0.5%, and so we're getting the signal that 0.5% is definitely coming to Doc, to TVET in general. Doc, give me a thumbs up or you don't want to commit, you don't want your, well, Doc says this, but I'm sure further conversations will take place. But let me stay on you, Doc, because again, if you're talking about the impact that investments in projects for TVET across the country could have in 2050, we want to look at the now, because investments have been made. So far, what has been the impact? What kind of changes are we seeing that looks promising for us in the near future?
So for our mastercraft persons, we're talking about 1 district, 1 factory. We start from small and medium-sized company, and you can build up. So that one alone, that huge support to mastercraft persons has added up to their income. So even though we are always looking at in school, but GETFund has gone beyond to support even out of school. And that is something that maybe we can have an impact analysis or follow-up research to look at how much income has been able to come on board, like how much have we increased their earnings. Then of course we are looking at enrollment. If you look at Engineering is already running right now, so the enrollment there is adding up to the number of students that are going to TVET. We've moved from, as a country, we moved from below 50,000 for the entire 3 years to over 150,000 in TVET. And part of the contribution is coming from GETFund. We haven't started enrolling students in the other 3 TVET centers, and that is also going to add up to the numbers. And for the fact that if you go to Enyinem, they are processing some products, it's good enough, and that needs to be looked into and to study it as well. When our commandants start running and you have mechatronics equipment being used and students getting access to the skill, we are talking about digital skills, Internet of Things, big data, artificial intelligence, software development. These centers also have IT center, not just the general IT centers, but one that will focus on digital skills and digital trades. So that impact is also going to be there. Then also we look at the tertiary institutions. And say, in addition, even I did not even talk about the amateur project that has supported our technical university. But the new equipments that are coming in now, I'm not sure if Koforidia Vice Chancellor is here. They are receiving new equipment. They are not here now. Yeah, they're receiving new equipment, and that is also going to add up and expand the number of students that can have access to this equipment and on-the-job training within the technical universities.
I see. My time is up, but I'll go to Mr. Cherry very quickly, and then we can wrap up on this, because you talked about the fact that you are hungry, and so it's also affecting, but we want to understand, because as you're given these contracts, we're looking at you meeting that standard of quality as well. And so how do we ensure that maybe there are challenges here and there with contractors and all that, but we're also meeting that standard that is required?
Okay, thank you very much. But before I come back to your questions, let me commend Dr. Samoa also for such a human job he done at his department or his agency. Sincerely, as industry players, we are in there to absorb the skill force. So the value addition we are talking about is our younger ones or our children who are upcoming need to be trained in terms of skills, not just the aura, but at least must have some hands-on practical to at least blend their lives with. And if that happens, what then happens, they are coming to the market. We dominate the market. So which means we must also be credible enough to absorb them. So if our businesses are shrinking or collapsing, then which means all that we are training them to come and do, if care is not taken, we may not be able to absorb as many as possible. But coming back to the hunger aspect I talk about is, as Doc said, you and I know that at the end of every month, you need something to put on the table. As also inform my wife or my children or my workforce that I'm going to work, they are expecting a return back home. At the end of the month, if nothing comes, what just happens? You are a woman as well. So therefore, all that we are trying to say is...
I don't quite understand that, but I'll let it slide.
All that we are saying is they should strike a balance. For 2019 till date, payment has been stalled. Now he has given an assurance that before the close of this year, there's going to be payment. That's the reasons why our pause there. But we are watching and we are marking. The days are tickling. If you wouldn't like to see us in the various offices of his, then they should try as much as possible to walk the talk. If not so, they'll have us at their offices very soon.
We're hoping you don't match the offices soon. Believe in Doc if he says that they're going to ensure that payments, at least all areas for 2023, would be cleared. And what will be left? They have been cleared.
Not
or will be cleared. Up to 2023.
Up to, yeah.
Yes, that's what he said. Said has been cleared or will be cleared. Will be cleared. Oh, so you don't have a problem.
So that's why I'll cease my fire for now.
You enjoy Christmas, trust me. But unfortunately, we have to wrap up at this point. And so, gentlemen, thank you so much. Mr. Emmanuel Cherry is the CEO of Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry. And, well, he's also given some ultimatum. And I believe that, the needs will be met in real time so they won't have to march the offices. Professor Safo Mensah is the GETFund consultant for FASOTA. Thank you, sir, for joining us. And of course, we've also had the Director General for CTVET, Dr. Fred Che Asamoah. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bella Mundi, your moderator for the first part, and set for the second part also. Just a little announcement. How many of you are hungry? Well, I have good news for you. For all the schools here represented with packaged lunch, they are with your authorities who have come with you, and so don't be in a rush at all. At least today is better than school feeding program. You enjoy. For all of us, we have lunch packed, and please don't be in a hurry to leave. Bella, your last guy sounded like a ranking member of parliament. I don't want to mention names.
Hey, not
but
today.
joining you right now for a stimulating conversation on scholarships, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Mohammed Mazouk Abubakari, a round of applause as he comes. Nicholas Lening Anane, Ajay, Architect Divine Sepa, and Madame Emilia Sanagmen Yenmuno. A round of them all as they come up.
Thank you so much, Jerry. And well, of course, again, we have Divisional Officer Grade 2, Divine Sepa here. And he would want me to address him properly. And so he's a fully qualified architect. He's a member of the Ghana Institute of Architects, and he's a full membership. He has a full membership status with the Institution of Fire Engineers in the UK. Currently, the in-house architect for the Ghana National Fire Service. And so it's good to have you. And also good to have my other guests join me this morning, or this afternoon more like. Dr. Mohammed Mazouk Abubakar, you are a Board of Trustee member of GETFund. And so it's good to start this conversation with you because we talk about priorities in awarding scholarships. And constantly, I mean, for people who don't even work at GETFund, as journalists, they come to us and they say, I've applied. And I'm not sure what the priorities are, what they're looking out for. Can you give me those details? Today, I'm seated with you, and I would want you to touch on that for everyone who's watching, listening, would want to understand what the priorities of GETFund is when it comes to scholarships.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. First of all, I thank the organizers of this function, of course, one of whom I am. And it is important for all of us to understand that GETFund does not live in isolation. GETFund exists within the context of the nation's aspiration, especially when it comes to educational delivery. And it is important for us to understand again that every nation depends on its educational aspiration for national development. And that is why GETFund has made it possible for us to prioritize other nations. You agree with me that in contemporary society, certain disciplines are prioritized globally. And I think some of these disciplines have been mentioned, like the STEM that the administrator had earlier mentioned. It is also important for us to understand that GETFund is not just looking for scholarship, but a kind of constructive scholarship that will propel the national development agenda. And therefore, we do this in taking into consideration three fundamental areas. One, the financial capacity for the students to learn. Two, relevant curricula that will be in line with our nation building. And then the third one is effective tertiary education. When we say effective tertiary education, it is a kind of education that is not based on examination passing, but on knowledge acquisition. And the only criterion that distinguishes between examination-based education and knowledge acquisition is the global tertiary educational principle of plagiarism. And that is why GETFund does not just send students outside. It also emphasizes the need for these students to respect the principles of plagiarism. In contemporary society, you agree with me that plagiarism itself has been highly threatened by technological advancements. Take into consideration the ChatGPT, which is rocking the academic community. And we want to ensure that our students will have the ability to understand what plagiarism means within our context and outside our context. For example, you may agree with me, senior academics are here, and they may agree with me that we have so many manuals of citation, the APA, the MLA, the Vancouver, and then discipline-specific manuals like the X-Scholar for Legal Education. In our part of the world, and I can say that with confidence, that majority of our universities use the APA. only few use the MLA. You go to other jurisdictions and they are not even aware of the APA. Our students are sometimes confronted with these challenges, and therefore we try as much as possible to have direct link with some of these students to be able to mount pre-departure tutorials on plagiarism and other acts of academic discipline and other acts of academic malfeasance, so that our students will be able to know very well. And in a situation where they go and encounter other manuals that are not conversant to them, we still try to link up with those universities so that they will be able to get the best understanding, and then they will study very well. At the end of the day, we just don't want them to go for knowledge. We want them to go for a kind of knowledge that is also based on creativity and innovation. And it's only respect for plagiarism that can guarantee that kind of knowledge.
And I'll definitely come back to you if there's time so you can give some advice to a lot of the applicants and students on the issue of plagiarism. But let me go on to Mr. Nicholas Lenin Anane, a JS Squire. And if you look at the booklets that was given us, you look at the sponsorship and scholarship categories, there's general scholarships, there's faculty development programs, there's professional enhancement and capacity building, which I believe you fall under. And then there's also the educational program and activity sponsorship. So in your case, you're a beneficiary of GETFund scholarship. Tell me how that has impacted your professional life.
Okay, thank you very much, Bella, and a very good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. I must say that when it comes to professional life, the point of scholarship and education is to help you acquire skills that hitherto you didn't have. Like you rightly mentioned, I'm a young practicing lawyer and I'm a dispute lawyer. So when I decided I wanted to do further studies, I wanted to do further studies in an area that was not so common around. So I went to do tech, media, and telecommunication. Now, having come back as a result of that learning, I've had the opportunity to start a new academia life. So currently I teach at GEMPA, and I don't just teach any program, but I teach the first ever law and technology course that has been introduced into undergraduate legal education in Ghana at GEMPA.
Wow.
And it's as a result of that opportunity to study the program that now gives me room to impact upcoming young lawyers and introduce them to technology as far as the legal space is concerned. And even beyond that, we've also, realizing the importance of technology, formed some forums which we are using to introduce technology, not just to students, but also to practicing lawyers. So there's the Law Innovation Hub. Last year, there was a Tech Converge where I spoke about some of these legal things that lawyers must know. And so the impact of the scholarship has been extending the knowledge that I have gathered, not just to upcoming students, but to lawyers, and also liaising with friends and others that I made while studying to be able to create more room as far as improvement is concerned. So there's no doubt about the fact that the scholarship has been one of the most impactful as far as my young career as a lawyer has been concerned.
And I'm sure that you can also say same for yourself, architect, because in your case, then you also benefited from the scholarship. And I read your bio, your brief bio, and even that alone was telling on how impactful the GETFund scholarship has been on your career. Tell us.
Yeah, thank you, Bella, and thank you, GETFund, for granting me the opportunity to air my views on this all-important platform. Yeah, so I mean, I'll take your question from this angle. So currently, the medium-term goal of the Ghana National Fire Service is to expand the regulatory legislative framework for fire safety in the country. And so steps are being taken in that regard. And so most of us who have been beneficiaries of this scholarship scheme, mostly fire safety engineering, form the core of the persons behind this drive. And for instance, currently we are working on the new fire code. And I cannot tell you how important it is that this fire code sees the day of light with respect to its importance in the regulatory regime of fire safety, so to speak. Yeah, so I mean, these are some of the things we've engaged in. So if you look at it from a broader perspective, once Ghana is heading towards industrialization and the rural-urban drift doesn't seem to be reducing anytime soon, It means that we need more robust fire safety legislation to deal with fire risk associated with these events. So this is what we are working on. Hitherto, we have also worked on policy documents with regards to fire safety, all in a bid to improve the fire safety regulatory framework for the country. Yeah, so these are some of the benefits as a beneficiary of the scholarship scheme.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, while we talk to people who have benefited in the past, we also would speak to someone who is currently benefiting from the scholarship. She's a master student here at UPSA, and all thanks to GETFund, she was able to get in and do her master's. And so you are currently doing yours. And so congratulations on even getting the scholarship in the first place.
Thank you.
Tell me a bit about, how nice it must feel to walk around with some air of confidence knowing that you are here doing your master's that you've probably always dreamed about, and this is as a result of support you're getting from GETFund.
Okay. Good afternoon, Bella. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, the management of GETFund, the board, for giving me this opportunity. It has really helped me. Coming from a poor background, having no help anywhere, it was a challenge for me, but I had a dream to become a chartered accountant. And how do I get there? So I started and I did my 2-year course program. So I applied to GETFund, and by the grace of God, I had the scholarship. So they sponsored for my degree program. So I finished, and then I want to further my education at the MBA level. So I applied it again, and I had the privilege to the funding, and that is what currently helping me to finish my master's program. Thank you.
That's incredible. Please, let's put our hands together for her. But when you applied, let's measure your confidence level. Between 1 and 10, what was your confidence level in ensuring that you'd get, in knowing that you might just get the scholarship? Was it 2 or 10 or 9? Be honest.
Behind it.
It was what?
It was in the middle.
It was in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
What was your concern?
Okay, I was much more concerned that they will help me so that I'll be a blessing to the society. That one day I also stand and help others out there.
So you were not scared that maybe you might not get it because maybe, you're not sure?
Yeah.
You had that fear too.
Yeah, I had
Did you
that
face any challenges as you applied and you waited to be awarded? Tell us a bit about that.
Okay. Having no support, financial support anywhere, and then coming from a poor background, it was a big challenge for me to pay the initial fees. And getting loan wasn't easy for me. But through it all, I made it by the grace of God. And even before the whole process and payment to be made into my school funds, school is ongoing. How do I go? So it was a big challenge to me.
Architect, and I'll just come back this way because I want to understand what some of the challenges you'll face in applying for the scholarship were before I come back to
some of the challenges I faced.
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't say I faced so many challenges because the application was spearheaded by the service itself on my behalf. And so they championed everything, and where I had to come in, I came in and then did my part. So, I'd like to take this opportunity to quickly talk about the GNFS wider goal. That is like a medium to long-term goal with regards to their interest in this scholarship scheme for fire safety engineering, which is, to build capacity for fire officers so that moving forward, there is education in fire safety engineering in universities, so that it is not a sole preserve of fire officers anymore, but the officers who have embarked on this scholarship form the base of lecturers who will start up this all-important course. So, this is the vision of the Ghana National Fire Service. So coming back to your question, that is how come they were keen on facilitating it on our behalf, so that everything goes on as planned. And I think it's a work in progress. We see signs that things are moving in the right direction. And very soon we'll have a fire safety engineering course in one of the universities, which is a very important discipline. But currently it is not being studied in any of the universities, but it is very important. Let me quickly give you an overview. So for instance, for best practices, or in the UK for instance, when the architect does his design, he subjects it to scrutiny by the fire engineer. And then there's a back and forth between them until they feel they have met all the regulatory requirements with regards to fire, before it goes to the fire authority, in which case this is GNFS. But because there's some sort of shortage, in fact, there are no fire engineers in the country. So how do you go about such a system?
We don't even have one?
No, just,
Just a few.
A few. I can count on my fingers. Just a few. So, I mean, this is an effort of the GNFS to make sure that other than fire officers who have this skill, civilians have this qualification, and then they can say, like someone will say, I'm a civil engineer. Someone can equally say, I'm a fire engineer. And then they help in the construction process, I mean, right from the word go. So that when the drawing now comes to fire service, there are also skilled personnel who can access it and make sure that it's code compliant. So that is the overall dream of the fire service.
Indeed.
In that respect.
Now, counsel, in your case as well, I mean, thanks to this scholarship, you were able to study something that now you are teaching for the first time in a school in the country. And so clearly, GETFund is also contributing to national development. What would you say can be done moving forward to ensure that the door is open to a lot more people who can also benefit from such opportunities?
Thank you very much once again. I think the first of what can be done is what GETFund is already implementing, and I must commend them because it would be remiss of me. Now, it was during my time that the no objection policy was introduced, which allowed persons who had acquired knowledge in some specific courses to be able to stay on to either build more capacity or train better in it. And so I can say for a fact that I have colleagues who are doing stem cell technology who, as a result of that no objection policy, got scholarships to stay on and do some PhD programs or some extensive work. So that capacity to allow those who already are there maximize the knowledge they have attained rather than force them to come back when in some instances unemployment was a big issue and the knowledge they had acquired may not exactly even be useful in the short term in the country is a step in the right direction, and I think the administrator and the board of trustees demand commendation for that. Now, beyond that, I believe that largely what can be done also is a function of funds. And recently I hear a lot of arguments about why let people go abroad when you have universities here, when you can study here. But like I mentioned, the program I did, for instance, is the first time it was run. Beyond that, University of Ghana has now introduced the program as a master's program, where only lawyers who have a first degree are able to do. But as a result of that single decision by GETFund, now you have about 200 students per year having access to that knowledge, even before they complete undergraduate. So I think in prioritizing, we should also have regard to the fact that while we have need to stay locally, in some cases, some results can only be achieved when we look outside to learn from what others are doing. I believe that will be in the right direction moving forward.
And even before I move on from you, and so as a professional who also applied, I'm sure there were some challenges you may have faced along the line. Would you want to briefly touch on some of them so you can also address how some of these challenges can be handled in the near future so that access to scholarships for professionals will be made much easier and more accessible?
I think personally, one of the biggest challenges at the time had to do with the platform of application. I think it was around the time the system has been introduced. But I have keenly followed the subsequent applications, and it appears the system has been improved. Beyond that, the interview sessions, for instance, were done virtually. So there was no inconvenience of having to travel to go meet a panel. And then one other thing I saw about GETFund was also that they tried to cut costs where they could. So in my case, for instance, the fund insisted that if you are going to pay your tuition, you should take care of your flight ticket because at least you're a young practicing lawyer, you would be able to afford it. And that was the agreement that was eventually reached. So I think they are making every effort to make prudent decisions in that regard, and they should continue on that path so that it's not just giving the money out, but making sure those who need it and as much as possible amounts to be expended can be reduced to ensure maximum utility.
Absolutely. Dr. Abubakar, so back to you and the issue of plagiarism, and I was happy that you raised that because my follow-up question is on that. What advice would you give to applicants of GETFund scholarship when it comes to plagiarism with their research work especially?
So permit me to be unconventional. Before I answer this main question, let me comment on the selection process and then the what goes in, I mean, the kind of consideration. You agree with me that the main qualification for the scholarship is dictated by two adjectives: brilliant and needy. And therefore, when a person comes, those of us who sit on the committee, the education committee, we try as much as possible to figure out the person's qualification in these two areas, whether he or she is brilliant, whether he or she is needy. And in establishing that, we also want to figure out that the person is not timid, that the person's confidence level is high. Timidity is not humility, and assertiveness not arrogance. We want to ensure that when we send you outside, you will be capable enough to learn in the classroom, to undergo cultural learning, to undergo anything, to have a kind of knowledge that may not be found in the classroom. And then the no objection thing that we have also instituted, it is to ensure that we understand brain drain, because the lack of no objection, getting the students back was to ensure that we do not encounter brain drain. But on a second thought, we realize that their stay could also amount to brain gain rather than brain drain, and that has been established by my colleague, because their stay could give some of them the opportunity to go for further studies up to the PhD level. So what we thought was a brain drain was rather brain gain. That explains the no objection letter. My advice to students going out there, we should first of all know that education does not end at the level of the classroom. And what drives knowledge is the ability to think independently. The independent thinking contributes to knowledge. If you plagiarize, you deny yourself the opportunity to think independently, the opportunity to innovate, the opportunity to create. So if you are going to a university as an awardee, make sure you first of all study the kind of the citation manual used by the university. If you are not conversant with that citation manual, try to learn. Do your own reading. Learn. But be sure, because we will definitely mount pre-departure tutorials for you. Apart from the pre-departure tutorials, we have also been in agreement with some of these universities to mount periodic tutorials for our students there. Because plagiarism can sometimes be unintentional. But when it comes to punishment, it doesn't matter whether it is intentional or unintentional. Once you are caught in the web of plagiarism, you are expected to bear the consequences. Let me conclude by saying that GETFund and its operations constitute a collective responsibility. The source of the funding is collective, everybody pays, and the implementation is collective because it is done by committees. And therefore, let all of us stand to reason and to accept that GETFund is an opportunity for all of us to come together to exercise our collective responsibility and civic duty. And when we all do that, we should accept it as a struggle. And in the end, we will not remember the discomfort of our struggle, but the comfort of our success. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And our time is up, unfortunately. We'll have to wrap up at this point. Maybe just 30 seconds if you
Okay, all right.
less,
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to take this opportunity and use this platform, and on behalf of the Chief Fire Officer, extend our gratitude to GETFund and its management for continuously supporting GNF's dream of becoming a better service. You know, it is very welcome, and it has made a lot of impact. And like I said earlier, it's a work in progress, and we see light at the end of the tunnel. And thank you very much. You are doing God's work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And also all the best to you as you're still in school and studying. And I'm sure that eventually we'll have you come on board again as one of the beneficiaries who tell her story. But if there's one thing I've learned from this conversation, it is from Dr. Mohammed Mazouk Abubakar. He says what? Timidity is not humility, and assertiveness is not arrogance. Definitely, as you're applying, remember that, so that you make sure that you get it. And when you go out there, you keep that at the back of your mind and learn as much as you can. Thank you so much. Dr. Mohammed Mazouk, yes.
You may end up getting more. Why don't I engage the audience so that he'll give us more?
Okay, maybe we should.
And so we have time for 4 quick interventions. It could be a question, suggestion, comments, you know. Just raise your hand, identify yourself, shoot straight. No MP3 loaded question. It should be simple file. So if you catch the eye of the moderator, she will direct, and then, Madam.
Oh, okay. Well, his hand was up first, so I'll let the gentleman at the back.
Okay. So we have mics in the aisle.
Back, yes. So 4. So I guess we'll select one from each aisle. So I guess we have the 2, the gentleman here as well, and the one at the back. And then we'll have, I wanted to balance the equation. No females.
Okay, since you are the Supreme Court, please. Parliament will stand down for you.
Any females on this side? I guess not. So, we'll have to settle on the gentleman. He put his hand down, but I guess we'll have to come back to you. So you represent the female caucus in Parliament for us. Thank you very much, sir. And then maybe one more from the other side. If I could get a female from that side, it would help. Okay, there's a young lady there. Please come forward. Thank you very much.
Concerning the scholarship programs, I wanted to know, you are given an ultimatum that after your studies, you have a chance of working there for about 2 years. Then you have to return back to your motherland. So my question is, what is the assurance that when you return, you're going to get job opportunities, looking at the high rate of unemployment in Ghana nowadays?
So in short, you want to know, what if you don't come back?
Not really.
Not really, but something like that. I see. Anyway, I'm sure Doc will answer your question. Let's just move on. Sir, please. Yeah.
Hello. My name is Richard Nyaku, Vice President for Consensus Public Sector Contractors Association. My question, or not a question, I just want to commend GETFund for the beautiful job they are doing. And listening to the administrator speak this morning gives us a lot of hope and a bright future for our engagement. Now, one thing I would like for the administration to consider very seriously is one of the main reasons why jobs are stalled or abandoned. GETFund should engage us seriously, or create a platform for us to engage seriously on payment of interest on late payments. That is done by Road Fund, and because there are no interest payments on late payments, what happens is by the time your certificate gets paid, in some cases over a year, the inflation has really wiped out all your profits. So you have no motivation to go back to site. That is why the project gets abandoned. So it will be a good thing for us to engage and see how we can incorporate this into some kind of performance clause on both sides in our contracts. And I believe that's done would help us a lot in making sure that contracts don't get abandoned. Thank you.
All right. We'll let you speak. Go ahead. Can you signal him so he can start speaking?
Okay, my name is.
Yes.
My name is. I'm a visual impaired student from Education.
Sorry, please come again.
My name is Theophilus, and I'm a visually impaired student from Presbyterian College of Education. Since I came here, I've heard a lot of the projects, initiations, and a lot of things that have been discussed here. But to be honest, I have personally not heard any of the initiations channeled towards enhancement of the educational sector of the country concerning persons with disability. As I came here, I was doing some little research whilst the talking was going on. Let's say our braille materials now are very, very expensive in the country. I was checking Perkins Braille, which can help you in writing your braille. The least price I saw in dollars is $810. And that is very, very expensive when it's been changed into the Ghana cedis. So I would like to know that what projects are being put in place for persons with disability. Here is an era of, how do we call it, technology. So since those things are also expensive, I personally here, I can use laptop a lot. But there are some places when you go, they will say that he is a visually impaired and maybe he cannot write or he cannot do this. So they wouldn't allow me to work over there. Whilst if I pick up my laptop, I can just type whatever I want to type, print it out, probably design a place that I can print as a form of signatory, and that should also be accepted in a system. But here is a case that in this educational sector, these things are not being done for us to also have our way through easily. So I would like to plead with GETFund that if something can be done about this, something should seriously be done about this. So projects should be put in place that we persons with disability can also easily sail through. And talking about the scholarship too, I tried applying, but it was difficult for me to apply. Because when the time that I tried applying, I didn't even see my category of school, that's the Presbyterian College of Education. I didn't see it on the portal. So I wasn't able to apply for it, and that's somehow difficult. So if something can be done about that, thank you.
All right. Well, one more and then there was a lady as well. I kept signaling her. Oh, there she is. Okay. Sorry, Sarah, but all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, my name is Selina. I wanted to ask, per the presentation Dr. Eric did, we made mention of some of the number of females being taken up for these funds. I wanted to ask that when it comes to scholarship, what is the grade you're actually looking at? And even with after you have accepted or you have given scholarship to these females or anyone, what are some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to still having with the funds? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And I believe Dr. Richard Ampofo-Boadu would respond to the questions that have been asked.
Thank you, Bella. The first question that came in was the contractor. Was it the contractor who was?
It was the student who was asking, "What if you come back and you don't find a job here?"
That's In my presentation, I didn't make one fact. You're supposed to sign a bond with GETFund, and that bond, in some of the clauses, it tells you that you're supposed to come back. But with a letter of no objection, when you get a school or an institution, you can continue your program and do a PhD, or you get a place to work with and then get that knowledge. If that happens, we defer your bond. But in the absence of you coming back, the option is for you to pay back. You pay back to the fund and we can sponsor somebody else to go. So that is the challenge there. You may want to leave and then continue with whatever you're doing there. But we are not saying that we are forcing you to come back. But the bond that you sign means that in the event that maybe you think that now you have money and you want to apply your trade outside the country, then you pay us back our money. Because I told you that you pay, he pays, she pays, everybody pays, and you are not taking that money for free. So you have to pay us back. Our contract with you ends when we come back to Ghana. So when we come back to Ghana, that is where our contract with you ends. We don't, as an agency, find jobs for GETFund awardees. But what we do is, by the selection of the courses that we've given you, we know that even after your 1 year of learning and 2 years of working, you upgrade yourself. So you become more prepared, and that idea of you not having any qualification, because nowadays they look at your CV and then find out that whether you've worked somewhere, and when you go straight from the university, it becomes a bit challenging for you getting. But if they see that, oh, this person is an IT person, he worked with this company or that, it moves your bar, it goes up. So majority of the people that have come back, they've gotten work to do because they've upgraded themselves, and that is what we intend to achieve. So if I've answered your question. The second one was the one that got to do with, he's saying that the payment of contractors, if we're able to pay the contractors, and which I've told you that is part of our budget this year. The second aspect of his question was, we making sure that he said that we should, interest on delay payment. Quite peculiar with GETFund projects, unlike the road contractors. The projects are maybe 6 months duration, 1 year duration, 1.5 year duration, 18 months duration. Most of the projects at the lower level, that's how it is. For a 6 months contract, it is a fixed sum, and we expect you to execute it in 6 months. So if the contractor delays, I don't think that there should be a delay in payment. In the past, I can't speak much for the past, but you see, my presentation brings us to a new phase of GETFund, where money is even made available for the project. We budget for the project, so that circumstance may not even arise, where the contract, if it's a 6 months project, we expect you to finish in the 6 months. It is something last year, that was the project completion plan that I came to give a lecture on. So this is the way forward, and we think that most of the project, those that goes beyond the 18, that is in the 18 on the higher side of those projects, there is the we incorporate in the contract fluctuation clauses. So if the price go up, it is compensated by a fluctuation component, which is the Statistical Service and BRI have a way that we compensate contractors on, and that is what we use. So the that suggestion that he made, it is well noted, but for now, that is our defense. Those that are in the tertiary sector, that may come in. But even if the tertiary sector, what we are now saying is that they should do contract in phases. So you phase out. Phase one, this is the contract value. You do it up, we pay you off, and then you start with the second phase, which also has a different contract sum altogether. So these are what we're using currently. The third one talks about persons with disability. In my presentation, I told you that this year, all the students that wrote and then applied for our sponsorship, those with disabilities, all of them had it. It was a mass approval for put that to your school and that to you when you apply this time. That to you when you apply this time around. For the Braille, I can't talk much about the Braille because it's something that's got to do with the ministry. But maybe next time, or you can come to the office and then I get the information and then come back to you on the Braille. That is all the questions. Okay. Is there another one? The other, she was asking about how to apply. She's saying that once you get the application, the do's and don'ts, it is spelled out in your award letter. Once they give you an award letter, they will spell out what you have to do and what you are not supposed to do, how you can assess your funding. I would like to use this opportunity to let you know that the foreign scholarship that we did this year, all the fees of the awardees, the first semester has been paid. All their stipend, the first 3/4 of their stipend have been paid. So if you hear that maybe students have not been paid, minus GETFund.
All right. Thank you. But Dr. Abubakar just wants to briefly respond to the first question, if he may. Just a few seconds.
All right. My brother, please, I want you to understand that the policy of returning to the country is to answer so many issues. Two of them is to contribute to nation building when you come back home. I mean, the other one, one of them, and then the other one is to maintain our healthy relationship with the diplomatic community, because we deal with visas. If the diplomatic community establishes that our students do go but do not come back, it will affect our image, and subsequently those who will apply may not be able to get the visas. But let me tell you that it is not the case that if you remain there, it will be better. This is a classic example. Lawyer has come back and he's gainfully employed. So that tells you that whatever you do, you should allow the hope of success rather than the fear of failure. Thank you.
Another phone line. Please put your hands together for Belamundi and the able panelists. How about a group photo together? Previous panelists, please join. One big photo. All our panelists, let's have you on board. Photographers, please. And shortly we'll get to hear from the chairperson for today's event as he brings his thoughts to bear on this theme that we're reflecting on. Particularly grateful to be here today, ladies and gentlemen, is a good friend of ours. He comes on the back of the New Patriotic Party. Director of Communications, MPP Eastern Region, Mr. Evans Osei-Yeboah is here with his team. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you, sir. You and your marvelous team. We also acknowledge with gratitude the headmistress of Hack Mount Sinai SHS Ekropong, Madame Mercy Amo Dakwa, I beg your pardon. We have various groups herein gathered: the Vice Chancellors Association of Ghana and public universities. Please, a round of applause for them. The Vice Chancellors Association Ghana, public technical universities. Please, let's hear it up for them. Principals of Conference of Colleges of Education, PRINCOF. Please, a round of applause. Thank you. We have the Ghana National Association of Teachers. Please, a round of applause for them. Thank you. The Adenta Municipal Education Office. Nice one. The Greater Accra Regional Education Office. We have all government communicators here in present. Please show by hand. Thank you. We have the Committee of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, CHAS. We have GETFund consultants. Please raise your hand if you're here. We have GETFund contractors. Let's see all our contractors. And we have all our media partners too. Please, a round of applause for them. The Vice Chancellor of the C.K. Tedam University, Professor Albert Lugutera. Please, a round of applause. And all our GETFund staff, let's hear it up for them too. Please, a round of applause. It has fallen to our chairperson for this occasion to render his closing thoughts. We make welcome Professor Eric Nyako Samson.
Thank you very much. When the Mr. Ajololo asked all of us to clap for the various groupings, he didn't ask for himself. So Mr. Ajololo, come here. He says he wants his reward to be in heaven. But please, can we put our hands together for him for a great work done? Ladies and gentlemen, I solicited your support and participation to ensure a successful program. And I thank you very much for the success we have achieved. We listened to a lot of things, and we have seen some of them, beginning from the minister's statement as offered by the chief director, when GETFund was congratulated for the progress and its significant achievement, and the fund's transformation aspect, and the call on them to prioritize. And I think other participants also called for the prioritization. So we need to prioritize areas for further development. The minister talked about the surge in local scholarships, and we saw the numbers, 5,026 plus. We also called on the GETFund to expand efforts in partnership with local educational institutions and organizations. And Madam Chief Director, my joy is with the collaboration with the GNFS, the Ghana National Fire Service, as what they are doing. And for you young people, so now you see an architect who works with the fire service. So the bottom line for me as a career counselor is that when you work with fire service, it's not only quenching fire, right? There are a lot of things that can be done. So I thank you very much. And Dr. Boyd was telling me about some other programs they are doing with you to train more people. So you pick on professionals and they take in. So please look there. On the administrator's presentation, I have tagged it accountability of resource and of stewardship. How much money we have given them as a country. So when he was pointing, he pointed at me that your tax. So it means my money is there. So he's accounting to me the resource that was given to him and how the resource has been managed. And so I call it accountability of resource and of stewardship. And I think that the pictures have told the story, and beautifully so. Those of you who read economics, I don't know if economics has gone past Adam Smith. Adam Smith is still there. They say Adam Smith is. So he defined economics. And they say in the class, the teacher called the student, and the student said, if Adam Smith says economics is so and so, who am I to say a different thing? So if the administrator has told us the story in pictures beautifully done, who am I to say any other thing? But the bottom line is that we saw everything for ourselves. As we say in local parlance, we saw everything feely. I mean, the project, 3569 project as of September 2024, the project completion initiatives that he cited, the vehicles that have been distributed, the way forward of GETFund operations, GETFund sustainability, and GETFund innovations in educational financing. And I think in my earlier remarks, that's what I said. And he ended on it that at this juncture, what needs to be looked at is movement forward on innovation. I've mentioned the partnership with the organization, and I'm extremely happy to see my friend and what they are doing with GNFS and the issue about fire and architecture. You know, that is very key, and I thank you for bringing. I also learned whilst I was sitting there that there is a tomato processing at a TVET school in Enyinem. I know there are two Enyinems, Obuasi Enyinem and Kumasi Kwansu Enyinem. So which of them? Kumasi Kwansu Enyinem. Okay. So there is a TVET school that is processing tomatoes. You know, so there are good things that are coming. But what I found big, so I wrote here, the big thing is the digital transformation of the GETFund, the use of digitalization. So if the administrator and the financial controller on their desks can really press a tab and say that the school at Butumejebu is a town in Takrady. You know, so this project there, we can see the contractor there, we can see the extent of work done there, we can see the amount we have paid, and therefore we know that if the contractor says he has not been paid, that is not the real thing, he has been paid. And they can see that in the university in Somenya, there are projects there that have to be finished. Have I said anything wrong? All right, thank you very much. So, Doc, the digitization is key, and I want to commend you for that. And then we listen to the panel discussions. These are panelists that came with rich expertise and experience to tell us that this is the way forward. I am happy for these young people. You are here today. You have heard what is being done, right? And so what you need to do is to work hard to get to where you will succeed and get this. My university is just 4 years, but we have 23 students who are on GETFund. You know, I was asking my registrar, and then she was telling me that, like a question one of the ladies asked, you will have to be, they will find out of your attitude, your behavior, whether you cheat in school, whether you have had a case in school, and all that, so that the money is reserved for good people. So I want to encourage you to work hard to come on board of this project, and Ghana will build the human resource that we deserve. I want to thank you once again for your great support and for your participation. I thank you.
We're grateful to you, our chairperson, Professor Eric Nyaku-Mensah, for bringing such expertise to bear in our deliberations today, and thank you for tying that beautiful bow around this whole conversation, an account of our stewardship at GETFund and the resources allocated to us for the enhancement of Ghana's education. Saying thank you on behalf of the fund and all the partners who have come together, make welcome Madame Nana Nsafua Sapong. She's the head, administration and legal.
Mr. Chairman, Chief Director representing the Minister of Education, the Chairman of GETFund Board of Trustees, members of the Board of Trustees present, Vice Chancellors of the various tertiary institutions, CEOs of agencies under the Ministry of Education, RCCs, MMDCCs heads, Resident Chief Imam of UPSA, student body here present, GETFund staff, friends of the media, good afternoon. It is with great pleasure that I stand before you to deliver the vote of thanks at the conclusion of this insightful stakeholders forum. First and foremost, I would like to thank the Almighty God for granting us life and being present here today. Your active participation in discussions reflects that your commitment to our shared vision and goals are truly insightful. Your insights, expertise, and constructive feedback are invaluable as we continue to strive for excellence in our service to the nation. I would like to also extend our gratitude to our keynote speakers and panelists who have generously shared their time and expertise with us. Your thought-provoking presentations have provided us with new perspectives and have challenged us to think deeply about the future of our operations. I say a big thank you to the organizing team for their tireless efforts in making this event possible. From the planning to the execution, your hard work behind the scenes has ensured that everything runs smoothly. I thank the MCs and every one of you for taking time, attending, engaging, and contributing to this program. It is through our collaboration and shared efforts that we can make meaningful progress. On behalf of the Board of Trustees and management of GETFund, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of you for attending this event and making it successful. Once again, I say thank you, especially to our friends of the media. We are very grateful for everything you've done for us throughout these years in all these stakeholder programs. Thank you once again, and we look forward to exciting initiatives and collaborations ahead. Do please have safe travels to your respective destinations. Thank you.
We say thank you, our head of admin and legal, Madame Nana Nsafua Sapong. And so today, we get to understand how we can support the delivery of quality education by reflecting on the impact of GETFund. On a lighter note, 2005, in final year, a friend of mine went to one of the scholarship granting institutions and went to inquire with his qualification, with his degree in religion and philosophy. Is it possible for him to get? The office just told him, religion and philosophy, who better than a magician? But today, clearly, it is shown that no matter your field of study, if only it's relevant and you can really show some value, GETFund is there to support. May God bless GETFund. May God bless us all. And may we all return here, same time next year or any other time, to count the dividends that have accrued from these rich deliberations. You all agree with me? Then why don't you also agree with me as we receive for the blessings of Allah, the Chief Imam of the UPSC, Dr. Mustafa Idrisu. A round of applause as he comes.
Prof. Chair, the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made two profound statements. One, اطلبوا العلم ولو كان بالسين. That search for knowledge, even if it is found in China. And the second profound statement he made when it comes to knowledge was that خيركم من تعلم وعلمه. That the best of you is the one who learned and also taught. I was just so happy when the chairman said Professor Dominic Phoebe was his teacher, and he's now a vice chancellor. Professor Dominic Phoebe, thank you so much for impacting that knowledge to one of the vice chancellors in Ghana. Shall we pray? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you were here with us from the beginning of this particular occasion. You've been here with us throughout this occasion. We thank you so much for being with us. People who have traveled far and wide, Allah, we ask you to take them back home safely. Our elderly who are here, may Allah grant them good life, long life, and good health. Anyone that is sick and is here, Allah, we ask you to grant them your healing. Oh Allah, GETFund is into education, and you have said that anybody that is into education, the person is part of your blessings. We ask you to bless the administrator of GETFund, the management of GETFund, the entire trustees of GETFund, all teachers, all students who are seated here. We ask you, O Allah, to bless and guide them. Of education, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with you in everything that you do. Allahumma la sahila illa ma ja'altahu sahalan. Allahumma la sahil umurana ma'a rahat abdanina. Allahumma takabbal minna innaka antas sami'ul mujib. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
We're grateful to you, the Chief Imam of the UPSC. And so now we shall all remain seated as we take a family photo. Humbly I invite our administrator together with the board, together with the chair for today and the representative of our sector minister to please proceed to the front. I shall now invite two representatives of each school herein gathered. Two representatives. Two. So every school nominates two representatives to come up here for a photo. All schools present, please join us. Just two representatives. We shall all remain seated. Lunch will be served to all our guests. For all our schools, yours have been provided already through your authorities. Every school here present, two representatives. Universities, colleges,